Salutations! Welcome to Pod Mortem. I'm Reneé Hunter Vasquez, joined as always by my co-host, my husband, and my brother.
Hi, I'm John Paul Vasquez.
Hi, I'm Travis Hunter.
This week, we're recording live from a mysterious sub-basement discussing the 1973 British horror anthology, The Vault of Horror. This film was directed by Roy Ward Baker with the screenplay by Milton Subotsky based on stories from Al Feldstein and Bill Gaines. Taking stories from the Tales from the Crypt and Shock Suspense Stories comics provided The Vault of Horror with creepy, intriguing, and unique stories to be brought to life. This film was suggested to us by friend of the show and our mom, Nisa Hunter. She's always been super supportive of the show, and without her, two of us literally would not be here. So, what did you guys think about The Vault of Horror the first time you saw it?
I watched it for the first time today.
Really?
Yeah. I've never heard of this movie or seen it or anything, but I enjoyed it. It was
Hell
yeah,
yes.
it was.
You're a wild card,
You
so
are.
I never know. I hoped you would.
We watched it on, what was the app again?
Movieland TV.
Okay, but you watched it, you said on a DVD, right?
Yeah.
Well, on the Movieland TV app,
It looked like
it
trash.
looked
Yeah.
shitty.
No, it did. I tried to watch it on there and I saw the aspect ratio was all fucked up and I'm like, I'm out of here.
Well, I looked at it and I'm like, oh, 1973.
Yeah.
Okay. I just dealt with it.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I promise the film looks really good. You guys were dealt a bad hand.
I'll watch it again. I don't even care. It's that good to me. I just watched it. I'll watch it again.
Me too, and it looked good when I watched it.
I do want to say one thing before. The music is fucking terrific.
Yes.
Like,
It's so good. It's so dramatic.
yeah, I was like, this shit
Out
is
of
going
control.
off.
Yes. It's so fitting of what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because when you think of EC Comics, that stuff was over the top.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so it just fit perfectly, I thought. And you do too. So it's good. But no, I've loved this movie since childhood.
Yeah.
It's kind of perfect that mom suggested it because she's the one that showed it to us in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And also, this episode, I believe, is coming out the week after her birthday.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
timely
nice.
to cover it.
Yeah.
Happy birthday last week, Mom.
Happy birthday last week, Mom.
But I mean, I've always loved this film. I know it wasn't in the rotation as much as Creepshow,
Yeah, it wasn't.
but it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said with that EC Comics influence, I feel like a lot of people have heard of Tales from the Crypt, but not so much The Vault of Horror.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It feels like the less like popular sibling at school.
Right.
You know? So me. So I mean, I think it's like one of those that you pop on and just enjoy. It's so much fun.
It really is.
And the stories are great. You know, I just think that if you haven't seen it, because a lot of people saw Amicus's previous film in 1972, which was Tales from the Crypt.
Right.
So much so that people called this Tales from the Crypt 2 or like further into the crypt or something. So, I mean, it carved out its own thing oddly using the name The Vault of Horror without...
Leaning on Tales from the Crypt.
It very easily could have just been Tales from the Crypt 2.
Yeah. Like you, though, I love this movie. I've obviously watched it since I was a kid. And it's funny because mom would always show us these anthology movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever she would talk about one, I'd be like, is that the one with blank? And she's like, no, that's Vault of Horror. And so watching it for this, I haven't seen it in so long. I was like, this is the one
Yes.
that I always wanted to watch when I was a kid. It's so like nostalgic for that reason. But like even as an adult, not having watched it for so long, because like Creepshow was a constant.
Yeah.
Vault of Horror, I haven't seen in a very long time, and it's still adult me. It holds up. It's so good.
I don't know if there's something to me about the 70s aesthetic
Yeah.
that just, and I didn't grow up in the fucking 70s.
You sure?
I'm not, well, but it takes me back and it makes me feel that nostalgic feeling. I don't know what it is, but it's always done that for me. And this film is like the prime example of it for me.
Maybe you lived in the 70s in a past life.
Maybe. I don't know, man. I did think it was interesting, though, like I said, with the EC Comics connection.
Yeah.
The Vault of Horror was kind of like a sister comic to Tales from the Crypt, which explains why they kind of go back and forth and everything.
Uh-huh.
I was reading that they were really only in publication for like, and I know the Vault of Horror was only for like 5 years or something.
Oh, wow.
Like what happened was this guy, I guess, released a book called Seduction of the Innocent. And when he released it, the U.S. government was like, oh my God, comic books are killing our kids. And so they did like a government panel. And so they basically made it to where they started self-regulating. And then it shut down all of like the horror comics in the United States.
That'll fuck it right up.
Yeah.
All that makes me do is want to go read that.
Yeah, of course.
Comic.
They said, look, you guys can still make comics, but you can't use the word horror. You can't use the
Oh,
and
that's
so
dumb.
they were like, fuck it, we're done. Forget it.
Yeah.
And so it kind of just stayed like dormant for a while. And then I don't know if this is what revitalized it, but I do know that Milton Subotsky, you said?
Yeah.
He was a huge fan of these growing up. And so he was like, he went to his business partner at Amicus and he was like, please, 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 please. And then they bought the rights to them. And so I would like to think that it revitalized it through that. But I just thought that was really interesting.
It is.
One change that they did make is that in the Vault of Horror comics, there's a vault keeper. And he's not the crypt keeper.
Like the crypt keeper?
Yeah, it's like two different people, but for some reason in one of the comics, a lot of the times they would put different stories told by each of them. And so after a comic of his, he'd be like, well, back to you, crypt keeper.
Now, before we paint a portrait of this film, we would like to issue a warning for spoilers. Podmortem is a very in-depth podcast, and in thoroughly discussing horror films, we have no choice but to spoil a thing or two. If you don't wish to be spoiled, please go watch the film, then come back and enjoy the show. If you've already seen the film or don't care about spoilers, then let's tidy up. So we open with credits as, like you said, very dramatic music plays. We see Big Ben along with the River Thames and the streets of London before zooming in on an office building.
I loved this thing because this is a very like delightfully British anthology.
Oh yeah, which to me makes it even better.
Yeah, and they're like, look, this is
This is London.
where we're at, and the font
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the font's great.
is groovy, man.
Inside the building, the music continues doing the absolute most as 5 men one by one board an elevator.
Their elevator etiquette could use some work. I will say that the first dude gets on and faces the dude that's already in there. That's not how you do that.
Yeah.
It's not how that works.
Well, maybe in the 70s.
Hey, I wasn't there.
Were you?
I don't know.
But they are Harold Rogers, played by Daniel Massey, Arthur Critchett, played by Terry Thomas, Sebastian, played by Kurt Jurgens, Maitland, played by Michael Craig, and Moore, played by Tom Baker. Y'all got all that? Mm-hmm. Okay. They stand in elevator awkwardness, waiting to reach their destination, but despite the fact that they pressed the button for the ground floor, the elevator continues past it and stops at the sub-basement.
Already off to a bad start.
I'm already scared.
Yeah. I have a thing about elevators.
Elevators,
already.
they can be scary. See,
The only good scene
the
in
only
Annabelle.
good scene in Annabelle. Or Devil.
There you go.
Oh God.
I
Nah.
like that movie.
But nay, the jelly fell.
Yeah.
Toast side or jelly side down.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's so scary.
That's fucking hilarious. We need to cover Devil.
I would
for
love
sure.
to.
But the elevator doors finally open to reveal a whole setup in this sub-basement. The small room has a table in the middle of it, equipped with alcohol and glasses, and set up with 5 chairs. I'd be like, suspicious.
Very.
There are 5 of us.
Just trying to offer him drinks.
I mean, that's the nicest way to look at it.
Yeah, that is a very nice way to look at it.
I do love the overhead shot of them sitting at the table.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you're hanging over their head and things are hanging over their heads.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Well,
Pretty
Yeah.
deep.
let's get into it. But they get out of the elevator to investigate, and the door closes before they realize that there's no call buttons or, other buttons on their side of the door.
Yet they aren't that alarmed.
No, they are like, well, there's no way out. Let's have a drink.
Yeah.
But there is liquor.
There is liquor.
Would you trust that liquor?
I mean, what else am I supposed to do?
Yeah, you can't get out.
You're like, I can't leave. I might as well drink.
They take their seats around the table and start pouring drinks. One of the men muses that this feels like a dream, but Rogers pipes up. Dreams are scarier than this. Well, his are anyway. I'd be like, dude, you need to talk about it. He says they're strange, otherworldly, and unbelievable, but they feel so real that they might as well be actually happening. We zoom in on him as he's talking and, drinking his free drink. And one of the men invites him to tell about his dream, and he needs no further convincing. He
No.
just gets right into it. That's me wanting to talk to everybody about my dreams.
I feel like he was already on his way to like a therapy appointment. And he's like,
Right.
look, I got to unload anyway.
Yes, it's in the chamber. It's coming out. But here we start the first story, Midnight Mess. We're in an apartment as Rogers stands getting ready in a mirror and his doorbell rings. He immediately throws down what he's doing and goes to answer. Standing there is Clive, played by Michael Pratt. Rogers lets him inside and Clive goes to make himself a drink, remaining silent as Rogers is like, have you found her? Where is she? So he makes the money sign with his fingers and Rogers gives him the cash. And then suddenly Clive has the ability to speak.
It's a miracle.
Right? He hands him an address written on a piece of paper telling him that's where she lives, but there's something about the town that he doesn't like. There's something strange about it. But Rogers is like, fucking whatever, man. He questions if he was seen and if anybody knows that he's the one who hired him. But Clive is like, no, I'm, professional. Everything's confidential. Nobody knew anything.
This made me laugh because he's a private investigator.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he blended in very well in the 1970s. But now it'd be like, I think that hipster is a PI.
I think that guy was paid to watch us. But Rogers is pleased, and when Clive turns to leave the apartment, Rogers immediately wraps his belt around Clive's neck and takes him down to the couch, strangling him.
That was abrupt.
It was immediate. I'm like, oh, we're getting in this now. Like, we're not easing into the story.
I thought that was his tie.
Oh, maybe. It looked like a belt.
I don't know.
He fucking strangled the man with something,
well,
okay?
We wore belts as ties in the set. I mean, they were.
Oh, shit. But the music swells and Clive is quickly killed.
So, being strangled, I would pretend to be dead, right?
Yeah.
And then the second they went to go make plans to dispose of my body, I would spring up like the Undertaker and like
I mean,
take care of
unless
business.
the person that killed you has seen Scream and they're just going to shoot you.
Well, it's 1973.
Rogers, though, is like, thank you, and snatches back his money and looks at the address on the piece of paper.
You get your money back, but what are you going to do with this dude now?
That's the question.
Did he rent the hotel room under a fake name or...
I mean...
He's like, I'm leaving trails.
Yeah.
I don't even care.
I'm not even worried about it.
No.
But we cut to Rogers on a street walking up to the house. He rings the bell and waits very impatiently for an answer. Like he's already annoyed the second after he rings the bell. But he looks down the street to see that street lights are on and a restaurant is lit up down the road. Well, a building is lit up.
One thing I've noticed from doing Audition and The Vault of Horror in the span of a few weeks, I feel like everything looks cooler in not America.
Definitely.
Like this is just a standard neighborhood, but I was like, oh, look at the way
gorgeous,
that it's a neighborhood.
Yeah. But he checks his watch and turns from the house only to get the shit scared out of him by a man that was seemingly crouching on the street because he just stands up right in front of him.
It's like he materialized before our very eyes. I was like, oh, shit. And he gets the fright. He frightens him.
Yeah.
No, he scares the shit out of him. But the man joylessly identifies Rogers as a stranger and tells him that it's getting dark and he'd better get inside somewhere. The man promptly walks away and Rogers makes his way toward the restaurant. Now, I know that he was probably like, I'm about to kill this dude, I'm about to kill this dude, I'm about to kill this dude, and wasn't listening to him. But Clive saying there's something weird about that place, I don't like it, and then this dude being like, you're a stranger, you should get inside somewhere.
That would make me concerned.
I'd be like, maybe I should not be in this town.
No. And I mean, I don't know why he doesn't take it seriously. He's like, no, I'm getting a bite, thanks. And just leaves. He's like, stay on the road, keep clear of the moors. Right. But he's like, no, I'm going to
go to the moors. Thank you.
Thank you, please.
But he lets himself into the restaurant, hangs up his coat, and walks straight into the dining area. Two men who were previously drinking tea and chatting just turned to stare at him, and one of them looked a lot like Sacha Baron Cohen. But Roger seats himself, and when he's approached by this man is credited as Old Waiter, played by Eric Chitty, he asks for a menu. The server explains to him that he can't get a menu because they're about to close, but Rogers is flabbergasted. It's dinner time. How could they possibly be closing before 7 o'clock? The server says it's getting dark out and they always close before dark. They come out in the dark. And Rogers is like, who? But the server is fucking gone.
He just leaves.
Yeah.
But I'd be like, why do you live here then?
But wouldn't that's 3 people now who have told you that some fucking weird shit is happening.
At that point, I think I fucked up.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have came over here.
Yeah.
Nothing in this town is important enough, I don't think.
No, or I'll come back in the morning.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, during the day.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a hotel outside of town.
Outside of town.
Not the one I killed the PI in.
No, another one. But he makes his way back to the door and grabs his coat. When he goes back onto the street, the lights for the restaurant immediately turn off. He's like, we are about to close. With nowhere else to go, he goes back to that house and rings the doorbell again. A voice inside asks who's there, and he replies that it's her brother. The door cracks open and he smiles, but she doesn't. She opens the door and tells him to come in quickly, and he does. So Donna, played by Anna Massey, who is his sister in real life.
Oh, shit.
Which I thought was pretty cool.
And you can tell.
Yeah, you
They
can
look
totally
like-
tell.
Yeah.
I fell down like a rabbit hole on IMDb with a lot of these people that I've never heard of and probably will never see in anything else
Yeah.
again. But this lady, it seems like she had a really hard life and that she was estranged from her whole family for a long time before this. I don't know.
And then she reunited with Daniel, and the rest is...
And she lived happily ever after.
Right.
Yes.
I did read that Daniel Massey was an Oscar nominee
Oh, wow.
in 1968. I believe it was a movie called Star. Have not seen it.
No. But she quickly locks the door behind him and she's like, well, you finally found me. And he looks very pleased with himself. He tells her that it's been a long time. She asks him what he wants and he tells her that he just came to see her because she's his sister. And everything is fucking weird. Like, this is not how me and you talk to each other.
No, it's very standoffish.
It's strange.
And clearly an ulterior motive is
Yeah.
being hatched.
Something.
I don't know. It's an egg. The situation is an egg.
It's an egg. He asks her why everyone is afraid of the dark here, and she answers quickly, because of them. She says there's been 17 cases so far of bodies being found with every drop of blood drained from them. She's like, nah, but for real, why are you here? I'm
Yeah.
like, no, can we talk about the bodies for a little bit longer?
Go back, like literally drained.
Yeah.
Of every drop.
That's bad.
But he tells her that their father died a month ago, and he's been looking for her since because she is his heiress, but he says that she was the favorite after all. He left everything to her for as long as she lives. Not one to draw things out, Rogers immediately pulls out a knife and holds it up.
First of all, you dramatic son of a bitch.
He really is.
He like flips the switchblade. The thing to me is that he didn't even let that moment breathe.
No.
He's like,
For
look.
as long as you live.
Yeah,
No.
I heard shit goes crazy in the dark, so I got to kill you real fast.
And then I will be staying the night here. But
And I'm also starving.
yeah, he didn't get to eat. But Donna tries to back away from him, but her brother pins her to the wall and stabs her until she's dead. He just tosses her aside onto the couch when he's finished, with the knife still sticking out of her chest. He cleans his hands, puts on his coat, has the audacity to steal one of her flowers and put it in his lapel before going out into the night.
So he cleans his hands, but that's all he cleans.
Yeah. He's like, bye.
I don't know what forensics were like in the 70s. I don't know if there were forensics in the 70s.
I don't think he's concerned.
No.
He's like, all this money, I'll buy my way out of whatever trouble I get into.
There are two legal systems.
Yeah, that turned quick. I was like, God damn. Like you said, he didn't even wait a second. It was like, all right, now you die.
This is not the reunion I hoped for.
Yeah. Hey, sister, blah. It's horrible. But once he gets outside, he's just like laughing in triumph to himself.
Well, he's taking all the money.
Yeah. We're in the money. Until he sees that the light in the restaurant is back on and there are people going inside. He's like, those sons of bitches.
He's about to write a 1-star review on Yelp.
Yeah. He wants to speak to the manager. So he goes over and lets himself in again. The dining room now is almost full with people talking and eating. He hangs up his coat again and seats himself. Another server, played by Gerald Wells, comes up and reads off the courses to him. And Rogers is like, sounds great. But the server comes back with the drink and Roger's like, oh, tomato juice. And he's like, okay. He looks at him like he's stupid.
The dude's like, is that a joke? Just lets it sit in the air.
But the server looks confused, and then Rogers looks confused after he takes a drink of his tomato juice. The server comes back with a bowl of soup and clears away the drink, and Rogers tastes the soup, and when he comments that it tastes strange, the server's like, this is the same shit we have every day, okay?
First of all, he keeps eating it, number one.
Yeah.
I guess he was hungry. But number two, and this isn't to spoil anything, but that looks just like blood.
Yeah.
And I know blood soup is a very common dish, I believe, in Eastern Europe, as well as parts of Asia. So honestly, this is just very insensitive on Roger's part that he's
Get it together, Roger. God.
culturally ignorant.
But the server asked how he would like his clots cooked. And when Roger asked for clarification, he gets it. Clots. Blood clots. So then Rogers does a spit take.
I love the confusion of the waiter. He's like, dude, we serve this shit every night.
Like, are you fucking
What the
stupid?
fuck is your problem?
Wouldn't he know though? Everybody else knew he was a stranger.
That's
Well,
true.
Yeah, that is true.
I got no unless. That's true.
Well, I think the thing that I enjoyed is the fact that they switched out the waiters.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was great because it's not like, no, he's not pulling a double. That dude goes home when it's
He's
dark.
off for the night. Or I don't think he went home because we see him again later.
Well, we'll talk about that. He's just not on the clock.
No, he's clocked out. But disgusted, Rogers pushes himself away from the table and stands up, but the server pushes him back down into a seat. The server immediately goes over and opens a curtain that reveals a wall covered by a huge mirror, and Rogers is the only reflection to be seen. I love this.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was genuinely...
I love that they have this system of checks and balances in place.
Yeah.
Well, they want to make sure. I mean, you don't know how many times Van Helsing has come to this town.
When you just eat with it open, though?
Yeah.
Or are people sad
Well,
to
what
know
are you
that they don't
looking
have
at?
a reflection?
Yeah. I would just be sad. I'm like, yeah, the walls are still red. I mean, I don't know shit. I do love the in-camera tricks to achieve that.
Yeah.
Like, you know that there's no green screen.
Oh, no.
It's 1973.
Yeah.
So it's just very impressive to me.
No, and it looks good.
And it was funny because he opened the drapes almost like, let me show you how bad you fucked up.
Well, if he would have minded his own business instead of going back over there.
Even, take out vampires out of the equation. If I try to eat somewhere and they're like, oh no, sorry, we're closed, and then I leave, they turn the lights off, and when they think I'm gone, they turn it back on and start partying, I don't want to eat there.
No.
I mean, just the audacity.
There's a reason you don't want me here, right?
Yeah.
I'm just weird.
Whatever it is none of my business,
Yes.
but I'm not going back.
I will we'll hit a McDonald's. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. But everyone just stares at him until he looks into the mirror and finally realizes what's happening. Two men go to close the drapes on the windows, and the rest eagerly approach Rogers. They're like, oh, we're finna get this bitch. Finally, Donna walks in, the sister that he just killed.
Mm-hmm.
He screams in horror, and smiling, Donna holds up his switchblade and switches it on. Like, you remember this?
Yeah.
She switches it on like, you know what it is, bitch.
She tosses it aside, and the rest of the vampires grab Rogers. The music swells as Donna smiles and slowly walks over to him. But suddenly, and I thought this transition was really cool because suddenly everyone around her is drinking from glasses. And all right,
Well,
we got to talk about the face.
yes, we do. Yes, we do.
They were bad. But
She's like, much better than the frozen cup because she can't
Yeah,
open
she
her
can't speak. It's like you couldn't pipe it in later. God damn. I did point out, Mom has always said they clearly had the budget for one set of things.
yeah, because Donna's look good.
They look great, but everyone else has like the plastic fork
yeah.
like you did when you were a kid.
It kills me every time. But yeah, one lady struggling to keep her mouth closed says that this is so much better than that frozen stuff. We now see that they have
Frozen stuff, so they've got a system.
I guess. Well, I guess if they drained the bodies completely of blood, they got a surplus, and every night they just unfreeze it. And
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean,
So my question-
17 people.
yeah, my question though is like, are they preparing the blood differently, or is the blood in the glass and they call it one thing, and then they put blood in a bowl and they call it something else, and they put blood on a plate and they call it like it
Well-
was all just blood,
In the comic, it was a very nice blood cocktail,
right?
and then it was blood consomme.
So
That's
the
what I'm
bowl.
saying.
Yeah.
different seasoning.
I was
I
gonna
think
say,
so.
can I get a little seasoning or?
Basil. Do you make it like tomato soup? Is that why he was so confused? I don't know.
But Donna asked for a glass too and laughs, showing off her good fangs.
They're great.
We see that Rogers is upside down and being tapped like a keg by his neck by the older server, who's like, I'll clock back in for this shit. He writhes in agony as they fill glass after glass with his blood.
There's like a jarring 1970s cut during this sequence, but I don't count it against it because I just love it so much.
Yeah.
Like it feels of the time and it like takes you back.
To when you were in the 70s?
I don't know what you're talking about. But whenever his sister came up with the actual good-looking fangs, I was like, so you're the head vampire?
Yeah.
I don't...
Yeah.
So how long... So she moved here and already became the leader? Or did she move here and start all the other vampires?
Maybe.
She's always been a vampire?
He said it's been a long time. He only came to find her because she was left the money. So maybe...
Yeah, he did say that.
We've been apart for a long time. You don't know what I've been up to. Been doing vampire shit.
It's very specific.
Yeah.
But what did y'all think of Midnight Mess?
This one was all right. The teeth kind of threw me off.
No, listen. I will defend... This is a hill dying movie for me.
Yeah.
Those fangs are fucking hilarious.
Yeah. When he killed his sister, I was like, oh shit. I was like, okay, all right. And then he gave the whole, his whole little reason why and whatnot. I was like, all right, well, fuck, there's motive right there.
I mean, he's very clear.
Yeah.
What it is.
But he didn't have to go back to the fucking restaurant.
Nope.
No, he did not.
No.
And then, like you said, he had all those warnings.
Mm-hmm.
And he still was just like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I think that's what I like about this one a lot is that it's such an... Here's the thing that's very funny to me is that because I went back and I found these online to read and see what the differences were between the stories and everything.
You'll have to send them to me because I would love to read these.
It's interesting because this story, they, much like really all of them here,
Right.
they do what we love best, which is they improved on them.
Oh, well.
And so when I think of EC Comics, I think of people like getting their comeuppance, some kind of tragic irony. And this has that.
Yeah.
But the original story does not.
Really? What happened? Tell me.
In the original story, there's no inheritance angle.
So he just kills his sister?
Well, he doesn't kill her.
All right.
He is literally going to this town because he hasn't seen his sister in a long time. And when she asks, like, what's the deal? He's like, oh, I just haven't seen you in a while. So he was just going through town and he found her. That was it. So there's no...
So why'd she kill him?
There's no motive there.
I don't want to feel bad for Rogers.
No.
He's a piece of shit.
Well, the thing is that he's not a piece of shit in the comic.
Yeah.
He never killed a PI because there was no PI.
Right.
So it's like they just gave it so much more weight and character.
Yeah, they're like, no, we gotta make him a piece of shit.
Because literally in the comic, a dude hasn't seen his sister in a while, so he goes to visit her. He goes to a restaurant, and
she murks him.
They eat him, and she helps murk him.
Oh.
He's like, oh, by the way, I'm actually also a vampire. You're like, what the fuck?
I'm the head vampire.
Yeah, I love that the main character is not good.
Yeah.
Because you like to watch them get their comeuppance. That's something that I think Creepshow perfected.
Oh, absolutely. And like I always say, I love a good revenge story.
And that's, it's
yeah,
here.
you love to see people get what's coming to them, whether it's good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
But back in the sub-basement, Rogers sums it up by saying that it's more than a recurring dream. It's like it's with him all the time. Critchett asks him if he has a sister, and he says no, he doesn't. So I'm like, what? Rogers asks Moore what his dream is, but Moore defers to Critchett asking him to go first. Moore's like, no, mine's the strongest one. We gotta save it for last.
A little too honest there.
When Critchett doesn't know what he means, he lays it out. What's his phobia, his obsession, his fear, whatever he wants to call it? Critchett concedes that his dream is a very peculiar one indeed, but it's just so real. So now we start the neat job. We're in a restaurant, and Critchett sits with Wilson, played by John Forbes Robertson, and tells him that congratulations are in order because he's getting married. It's like, okay. Wilson is like, at your age, his friend is a dick. Okay.
Yeah. He's a real Yoshikawa. He's like, you?
Who would ever? But Critchett says he's marrying the daughter of a friend of theirs, and Wilson's like, little Eleanor? But Critchett says she's not little now. She's grown up and charming. Ew.
Very.
But Wilson asks, then why is she marrying him?
See, again.
God damn.
It's like she's seen you, right?
Right? Critchett is like, well, actually, I'm a catch and very easy to get along with. Now, I'm not familiar with Terry Thomas, the man that plays Critchett, but I read that he was a comedian, and it very much shines through to me in this one.
Absolutely.
It's like, yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Because I think his reactions to things are so like overblown and it's fucking hilarious if I'm gonna just put it bluntly.
But we cut to Critchett at home, pouring himself a drink and blasting his classical music. As he picks up his glass, he dabs the spot where it sat with the handkerchief. And so it's like, all right, dude. He sits down and reaches for his magazine, but he sees that the magazines are now neatly across the room. He calls for Eleanor, played by Glynis Johns, and immediately chastises her for moving it, which she did because she thought it would look better, and he can't deny that it does. But he's still not trying to hear it. He can't get over it.
He's like, you know what? It doesn't matter.
Yeah. He's like, you've moved the furniture. He's fucking pissed.
I will say, after seeing Eleanor, I was interested to see what their age difference was.
Yes.
Because he made it seem like she was like an 18-year-old
Yeah,
girl.
that's why I was like, fucking gross.
That's why I thought it was disgusting.
No.
But I looked it up, and Terry Thomas was 62.
Uh-huh.
And the actress who played Eleanor was 50.
Well,
So I'm like, wait, so your
That's
chum
not-
was 12? I'm so confused. When did he have her? Well, he didn't have her. When did he help make her?
Yeah.
help maker.
I'm trying to, it's a PG show. Watch your fucking mouth.
But Critchett tells her there's a place for everything and everything in its place. That's how businesses are run, it's how society is run, and it's how a home should be run. She concedes with a yes, Arthur, and goes to move the magazine rack back. Aren't you like, man, I'm really fucking happy I married this dude.
Well, there was no, I've been at work all day. It's nice to see you, honey. He was just
No.
like, why'd you move the fucking magazine?
Yeah, he freaked out like
It
immediately.
was bad. But one thing I will say in conjunction with you saying that he was a comedian is this one, I was like, okay, so this is going to be like a mismatch sitcom.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it.
Yeah. But the next morning, Eleanor is asleep as Critchett showers. She wakes up when he walks into the room, and he is actually nice. He tells her good morning, but he does so while he's blindly reaching into the drawer, pulling out underwear and pulling them on. She looks worried, but doesn't say anything until he looks down to see that he's wearing her underwear.
Didn't they feel different?
I was going to say the same thing. I feel like I would have noticed before they were fully on.
I would think he was fully clothed, and he's like, my word.
But she says she moved his things to his side of the bed because it makes more sense, and it does.
It does.
But he is appalled. His underwear have always been in the second drawer on the left, neatly folded. He's like, come with me to the basement.
Yeah.
And this is another thing throughout this whole thing. He talks to her like she's fucking 3 years old.
It's very uncomfortable.
Yes. In the basement, his workshop, he explains that he keeps everything neat in its same spot every time. He shows her the jars in which he's organized his nails and screws, telling her that he doesn't even have to look. He can just reach out and grab what he needs. But again, talking to her like a child, he's like, this is the value of neatness.
Yeah.
I'd be like, who the fuck do you think you're talking
She's
to?
like, I am 50 years old.
But the look on her face is one of, I've made a huge mistake. But she just responds with, yes, Arthur.
I did think it was funny that she got out of bed and she's full regalia. Like
Yes.
she is,
Yeah.
was not in any kind of pajamas. It's like sleeping in a tuxedo. I was very confused.
Yeah, no, her pajamas were nicer than my clothes. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, Eleanor.
I thought the same thing. I was like, she just had her clothes on.
Yeah.
She didn't even change.
I would leave the house in that.
Yes. I've left the house in worse. But we cut to her sitting with her friend Jane, played by Mariana Stone, who plainly asks her why she even married Critchett. And Eleanor is honest. Her dad was broke and she has no skills or career, so what was she supposed to do? She says he's nice, except for the fact that there's nothing she can do for him besides keeping the house tidy.
I would have liked to have been on a fly on the wall during this conversation to where they even got together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there ever a discussion?
I don't know.
Because it's like they've never been in the same room together.
Yeah.
And
Until right
she's
now.
having to learn everything
But I'm
that
thinking,
he's
like,
about.
I didn't
in
even
this-
think about that.
in the 70s, people shacked up, right? But I guess not people like Critchett. Like, I can't imagine. And if, anybody who didn't do this, I don't, whatever, it's preference, but I could never marry somebody and not live with them first.
Right.
Because, oh my God, it's a whole different thing when you live with somebody. You could think everything's pizza and then, you can't stand the way anything,
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, from 3 to 5, I often fart
Scream.
uncontrollably. So you're just going to have to get used to that. You're like, well, maybe we should have lived together first.
This was a mistake.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of farting, though.
It's like, are you okay, man?
You're just a husk.
But But back at the house, Arthur dusts his turntable with a little bulb filled with air before starting the record and listening intently before adjusting his levels.
This was a beautiful record player. I just had to point that out. I did think there was going to be more in play with him with the levels.
Yeah, I know, definitely. I was like, she's going to fuck him up. Like, that's exactly what I thought.
I thought he was going to be all Ordell Roby about it. Don't mess with my levels now.
Don't do it.
But it literally nothing.
No, but I feel like we're seeing even more, like, he's alone and he's the one doing it, and he's still like, no, it's not, we got to make it perfect.
So even to him, he's fucking up.
I mean, but Eleanor walks in and he tells her just to sit down and relax. He'll make dinner. And I'm like, finally, He says it's about time that he shows her what an excellent cook he is. He describes the spaghetti he's going to make before going into the kitchen, but instead of relaxing, Eleanor looks anxious. And just the way he describes it and clicks his teeth together was hilarious to me. But in the kitchen, Critchett is cooking and searching around for the tomato sauce. He screams at Eleanor, who is just sitting down and reading a magazine in the living room, finally relaxing. But she jumps up startled and rushes over. He tells her there's no tomato sauce or puree or spaghetti sauce. She admits that she must have forgotten, and he yells at her that that's no excuse.
It just makes me laugh. I don't think this man likes to use his eyes because he's just reaching in blindly into the thing. It's like, well, we all know where the tomato sauce is. What the? That's a jelly donut.
He's wearing a jelly donut. But he instructs her, again like a child, to go over to him by the cabinet, and she does. He explains it. On the inside of the cupboard, there's written everything that goes inside with 3 lines next to it. When you use one of something, you erase the line and then you know to buy another one. There are 2 lines gone for tomato puree and there's none. And there are 3 lines gone for tomato sauce and there's also none. He slams the cabinet closed and walks away, but this causes stuff to fall out and he just turns around at her angrily.
I thought he scared himself.
Yeah.
I was like, you did that.
But Eleanor's crying, but he just glares at her, shakes his head, and storms off. Now, I will say, I know that Critchett is very over the top, but that was a good system for his captain.
Yeah.
I was going to say the exact same thing. I was like, because part of me was like, God damn, in that moment when she's crying, he should have apologized before dramatically shuddering off like he did. But at the same time, it's a pretty damn good system.
Yeah, I was like, I might have to implement
it's
that.
like, so if we get a whiteboard and tack it to the... It's not bad.
I was like, I'm mad that I appreciate that as much as I do.
Sometimes bad people are right. I mean, it's a part of being a grown-up, I guess.
In the morning, Critchett comes downstairs to find that Eleanor has made breakfast and done the shopping to his specifications. He inspects the cupboard and even his spoon before eating, but he deems it all correct and he is pleased.
I thought he was even more of an asshole because he opened it up, the cupboard, and he was like, all correct. I was like, she's right
oh
there,
my God, dude.
Like, what a dick.
Couldn't be me. Later, Eleanor walks around the house with a drink. She absently sets it on the table for a moment, but when she picks it back up, there's condensation on the table. She almost sets the glass down again in her panic, but remembers to go grab a coaster. She drops coasters on the floor in her rush before grabbing one and putting her glass on it. She looks anxiously at the clock and sees that it's only about 10 minutes before Critchett is due home. She stops her record, scratching it before scrambling to put all the records back away neatly and placing the lid over the record player. This is when I'm like, she's going to fuck with the levels. But
exactly, no.
She dashes around and knocks over the little bucket of ice on the bar and stops to pick up the mess. She runs into the kitchen and dumps the ice into the sink before going down to the basement to find wood polish and a towel.
I do want to point out very quickly, it's just the thing that made me laugh. Before he leaves, he was like, I have to work late, so I'll be back at 6.
Yeah.
And then whenever she looks at the clock, she's like, he'll be back at 6. Yeah. And I'm like, that was literally the last line spoken.
We were just told that.
It makes me laugh every time.
But she comes back into the living room with her supplies and stops to pick up the standing lamp that she knocked over, and she picks up the coasters. She goes to the table and starts scrubbing at the ring, but accidentally kicks over the bottle of polish, making it spill onto the rug, and she looks at it in horror.
So this is some Lucille Ball shit.
I knew somebody was going to bring that up, but this is something I could literally see me doing. And John Paul can attest to how fucking clumsy I am. I could literally see me doing all of this.
I could too, but no, I'm just kidding. The thing about it was I found it very relatable for me because she's trying so hard but stays fucking up.
She's only making it worse.
And I'm like, you're doing your best. I can relate to that.
All you had was a little ring on the table, and now look at you.
Yeah, it was. I like the fireplace.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
But that was a bit much. I was like, you're kicking shit over and knocking shit off the wall. I was like, come on.
It was just a comedy of errors.
Yeah.
It was. But she picks up the bottle she kicked over and starts blotting it and wiping at the mess before giving up and just pulling the rug over it, which I'm like, same
Smart.
sister. I would have
Yeah.
done the same thing.
Never move that rug.
No. She turns off the record player and straightens the magazines on her way back to the basement. We see that Critchett will now be home in 5 minutes. So she just stayed fucking up for 5 straight minutes. She turns around to make sure the living room is picked up, but while walking backwards, she bumps into the wall and falls, and the picture hanging there crashes down. She tries to put it back up, but the nail has been ripped from the wall, taking some of the wallpaper with it, and she just props up the picture and runs back down to the basement. But here in the basement, she literally wrecks his shop in her quest for a hammer and the appropriate nail. And the music is fucking frantic, only adding to everything. It's like everything she touches, the whole fucking wall falls down.
It's fucking hilarious because like after she kind of topples everything over and everything, she gets the nail she wants, but then she shoves one of the things of nails off. It's like she just stopped caring. It's like, look, it's already fucked up anyway.
It's already bad.
Forget it.
She's like, I can at least put the picture back up.
Yeah.
But she rushes to the stairs and looks back at the mess she made in the basement. But suddenly Critchett is on the stairs calling her name. He looks in horror at his workshop. Now, if he was mad about puree, you can only imagine how he feels about this. He yells at her for ruining his entire house. He keeps repeating, can't you do anything neatly? Can't you do anything neatly? And Eleanor fucking snaps. Mm-hmm. She screams and brings the hammer down on Critchett's head, and it stays lodged in his forehead as he falls backwards.
It's a nice little freeze frame it does too.
Yeah. We cut to Eleanor standing proudly in the basement saying, there, Arthur, you said I couldn't be neat, but I was. She says she cleaned everything up after she finished, everything in its place and a place for everything. She laughs as we pan to see what she's marveling at. Jars, neatly labeled, display Critchett's body parts on the shelf in his basement. She's fucking cackling. She's having the time of her life. And we see his distinctive teeth in a jar next to his eyes in another jar. And then we zoom in on two. Now, I don't know why we zoomed in. I would have zoomed in on the teeth and the eyes. But we zoom in on 2 labeled neck bones and odds and ends.
I thought the teeth were going to get top billing.
Well, they look just like his teeth.
And it's a very defining thing for him. Dude, even I went to his Wikipedia page and they said he's a snappy dresser and he's known... Well, he passed away, but and he was known for his gap in his teeth. And they measured the gap. They said how much the gap was on Wikipedia. So, I mean, it's a character thing.
Show the teeth.
Yeah.
But I'm like, neck bones.
Neck bones,
damn.
they say.
I thought I even wrote that down. I was like, neck bones? What the fuck?
But what did y'all think of the neat job?
That was bonkers. I did enjoy it. I feel like you mentioned earlier there was a little overacting on his part, but it made it good. It was for me.
Yeah.
And I didn't even I thought the same thing. I was like, the guy's got to be a comedian or something because it's too good.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, you're over the top, but it's not, to me anyway, it wasn't like silly to where I was like, hey, get the fuck out of here.
It wasn't too much.
Yeah,
it was
enough. Like, holy shit, he's for real freaking out, you know? But I did enjoy it. The neck bone and bits was
a little interesting choice. I love this one.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite one, but it's close.
It's my second favorite for sure.
Yeah. I just think, I mean, first of all, it's kind of funny as hell.
It is.
If we're being honest with each other. I think that it's interesting that they added, okay, in the comic, there is no wrinkle about the age difference.
Okay.
So I thought it was odd that they added that, but then they have people playing 12 years apart.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe because she's like really pretty. I don't know.
They're like, look, we know he's not the best. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I feel like, I don't know, it just worked really well for me. And I'm usually, whenever it comes to the anthologies, like the funnier segments are usually my least favorite ones.
Yeah.
I just think that this one was so well acted
perfect.
it's just great.
Yeah.
It's just great.
I love this one. Like I said, it's my second favorite. I don't think I would change anything about it. Like every line is perfect. His like over the top, but not too over the top. It's I love it.
I feel like we're getting to kind of a pattern here of the stories being, there's no fat to trim.
Yeah.
No.
Like they are to the point.
Yeah. And it's funny because like even when we go somewhere else, like she's in the restaurant with her friend, we get 2 lines there and then we're back at the house.
Yeah.
Like there's no, and the runtime of this is so short. Like you said, they left no fat. Like
No.
It's all necessary.
Yeah.
And I thought it was good to have that scene in particular.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, why the fuck are you with this dude?
Yeah.
I was getting mad.
Please explain.
Yeah.
But back in the sub-basement, Moore lights a cigarette and asks Critchett if he's tidy now. And Critchett replies, no more than anyone else. It's like, okay.
That was a pretty snarky.
Yeah. So how about now?
Yeah.
But he says it all felt so real. Sebastian speaks up that he knows the feeling because he's had an awfully weird one lately. And then we go to This Trick Will Kill You. We're in India with Sebastian and his wife Inez, played by Dawn Adams. They're wandering around the outdoor market and seeing the sights when they see Fakir, played by Ishak Bucks, performing a trick for the crowd. He takes out a basket that is shown to be empty. A little boy comes out and he blesses him for God to protect him from danger before picking him up and placing him inside the basket. He closes and locks it and is handed a sword by his assistant, played by Jasmina Hilton. He says a prayer for the boy before plunging the sword through the basket and pulling it back out, now with blood smeared on it.
I gotta be honest with you, man. I've seen this a million times.
Yeah.
But when I saw it come out red, I gasped. As the kids say, I was shook. Like that.
Just killed that boy.
And if I was in the crowd, I probably would have fainted. I'm gonna be honest with you, man.
I wasn't expecting that.
No,
It's like, oh shit.
Yeah, because usually it goes in, comes out clean.
Exactly.
It really
And
does.
I was like, okay, what's the catch now?
Yeah, there's a twist on an old
Yeah.
trick. I
No,
was like,
they've
oh shit.
murdered this child.
Yeah, man. Imagine how fucking awful this trick would be if the trick is just the dead kid.
Yeah.
Like, ta-da!
Ta-da!
But he plunges it in again at another angle before handing it back to his assistant and opening the basket. The boy stands up unharmed and Fakir praises the gods for the mystic miracle. The crowd applauds. He now takes out a knife in a display on the human body's ability to withstand pain through their mind. He seemingly inserts the knife through one cheek and out the other. A man from the crowd cries out that this is a trick, and I don't know why they're speaking English, but
That's a great point.
with the piece of the knife through his mouth, Fakir says that it's not. Sebastian's fucking ass takes it upon himself to approach and tell the crowd that the real knife is in Fakir's sleeve. He proves this by pulling the knife out himself. And Fakir just lets it happen.
He does. Which
I would have fucking pushed his ass back into the
Yeah.
crowd. But
is how he makes his living.
yeah,
like,
dude, who are you? Like, sit your ass down.
Yeah, he didn't need to do that.
No.
No, first of all, it's a trick. Of course
Yeah.
it is. No, he really
really
just murked that child. And he stabbed himself in the mouth. And also, I'm sorry, but giving away the tricks, you're going to be thrown out of the Alliance of Magicians.
Absolutely, whether you wear a mask or not. But he then flips the basket over to reveal a door in the back for the child to escape out of. And he proclaims that it's all tricks, no gods and no supernatural powers or yoga. And the crowd laughs. He pulls the sides of the fake knife from Fakir's face, and Fakir just spits the middle piece into Sebastian's hand, just defeated.
Yeah.
So I understand that there was a side hatch for the basket,
Yeah.
but when did the kid escape? We were watching that goddamn basket the whole time. This dude is a great magician.
No, that's
Yeah.
where they pull out the dead kid and put in
and
another
put in the
kid.
real kid.
But
It's not
Sebastian,
so much magic as it is tragic.
it's a tragedy.
Wow.
Sebastian speaks from experience as a fellow magician and then leaves, and Fakir looks very unhappy.
So as a fellow magician, he should know better.
He should, what, then to be
Yeah.
blowing up his spot?
Yeah.
He should. But they arrive back at their hotel room and Sebastian immediately explains that it's hot. And Inez is like, you wanted to be here to see the land of mystic mystery. Now we've seen it. Let's go the fuck home. She says there's no mysteries to be seen. They haven't even found a new trick for their act. But Sebastian insists that they give it another day or two. The next day, they're making the rounds again, and Sebastian comes into an alley where the assistant from the act yesterday is playing a flute. And not a traditional flute, but I don't know what else to call it.
It's I got nothing.
It's a recorder.
There you go, yeah.
I don't know. We'll call it a flute.
She played hot cross buns.
But as she plays, a rope starts rising out of the basket in front of her. Finally, she gives him a look before setting the flute down and climbing the rope. And Sebastian is like, as you said, shook. He's doing the where he like rubs his eyes like, what the fuck? But the woman climbs back down and claps, causing the rope to fall back into the basket. Sebastian grabs at the rope once it's all the way inside, and she invites him to investigate. He pulls the rope out and confirms that it's just a rope. He investigates the basket, and it's just a basket. Finally, he asks her how much she wants for the trick, but she tells him it's not a trick. The magic is in the rope. He's like, then let me buy the rope.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think that...
After you just fucking shamed their asses yesterday?
Yes. I assumed that was either her father or something like that.
Yeah.
But you really think that she's going to be open to even selling you this trick?
Yeah.
There would be...
Yeah, you ruined her business. Here.
Yeah.
No, fuck off.
Here, take more from us.
Yeah. But she says she can't do that. It's been passed down in her family for generations. He offers her 4,000 rupees, which is like, I looked it up, $538.93 in today money.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's worth more than that. But
Well, it had him shook. I'd
Yeah.
probably pay more than that.
she tells him definitively that it's not for sale at any price. And he leaves in what I can only call a huff. He's fucking not used to being told no.
No.
Back at the hotel room, Sebastian angrily tells Inez that he knows it's a trick, but he couldn't figure it out. And if he couldn't figure it out, then no one else will be able to. So we cut back to the alley. Like we're
Again.
it just
Dude, no fat at all.
we're here long enough to get the story told, and then we're back.
We had one day in India.
Yes.
They didn't film this in India, by the way. I just wanted you to know that.
But I read, again, I went down these weird rabbit holes. The woman that plays Inez grew up in India.
Interesting.
And I think Calcutta. Isn't that weird? But anyway, Sebastian comes back to the alley to tell the woman that he told Inez about the magic and now she wants to see it. But the thing is, like, she's sick. So can she just come to the hotel room? Come on, Sebastian.
Very suspicious.
But the woman says no, but Sebastian offers her 200 rupees just to come and show her, and the woman reluctantly agrees.
I'm sorry, what happened to the 4,000 rupees?
That was for the trick.
Well, if I didn't budge for that, you're going to give me substantially less to even... That's bullshit.
It is.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
It
yeah.
I wouldn't go for that.
But back in the room, Inez is making herself a drink and like just enjoying herself. Just happy as fuck. But when there's a knock at the door, she tells them to give her a moment and rushes into bed and is like, come in. Like she's fucking sick. She's not sick.
No.
But they come inside and the woman is even like, I'm sorry you don't feel well. Which like, you guys are fucking awful.
I thought they were just bringing her here to see the trick closer.
Me too.
Yeah.
But hold on. She promptly sits down and begins to play, and we see Sebastian slyly lock the door to the hotel room. The rope slowly begins to rise, and Sebastian is checking it out from every angle, but finally he comes up behind the woman and just fucking stabs her in the back.
Now she turns her body to the camera so you can see how cool
Absolutely.
it looks. I thought that was kind of funny, but this is
It's
out
a lot.
of line,
It's
man.
a lot.
Yeah, I honestly, because I didn't see that coming.
No.
No,
I
it's
thought
like
he was going to hit her with like a vase or some shit. But no, he
No, he's like,
stabbed
"We're
the shit out of
fucking
her.
murdering
Like with the
her."
sword.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Couldn't have it just been a knife? It
No.
was like,
No.
no.
It went all the way
Yeah.
through.
But she cries out and falls to the ground, and Inez is just like, she's just watching. Sebastian grabs the woman's body and tosses her into the closet before going back to inspect the trick. He reminds Inez that the woman told him that the magic is in the rope, but Inez says there's no wires or anything inside.
Can we talk about how they thought they could just murk this girl with no consequence and just steal her trick?
And that they would know what to do.
Yeah.
Like you
She
already don't know
still
what it
didn't
is.
tell you.
I can't.
The magic is in the rope. Okay, let's cut the rope open and it'll tell us. No,
That's not how it works.
not at
For a
all.
rope, come on.
Yeah. But Sebastian picks up the flute and begins to play. And I'm like, if he plays it perfect, I'm going to be pissed off.
Yeah.
He plays it better than her. It's like, what the fuck?
The rope begins to rise, but it pauses each time that Sebastian stops playing. Once the rope has reached the ceiling, Inez is amazed. She's like, it holds me. She's like fucking into it, dude. And she's dramatic. Like she'll be in their act when they take it back home, and she starts climbing the rope up to the ceiling. But this bitch's happiness is short-lived, however. As we get a shot from the ceiling, she looks up at us and screams in horror. Suddenly, she just fucking disappears.
Yeah, I was confused.
I gotta be honest. I did not see that coming
Yeah.
This
No,
one's full of
not at
surprises.
all.
at all.
Sebastian screams for his wife, and the rope continues just hanging innocently. But above it, a pool of blood begins to appear on the ceiling, and I thought it looked really cool.
I really love that shot.
Yeah.
It just piece by piece
Yeah.
starts.
The rope falls to the floor before striking out at him like a snake. It strikes him, slapping his ass just across the room and
Yeah.
keeping him from leaving out the door. He finally is pushed against the closet, and the woman's body spills out, and she looks up at him with lifeless eyes. As he turns to look at her, the rope is like, gotcha, bitch, and wraps around his throat.
The distraction. It's-
Yeah. And then we get another shot of the woman just staring up at him.
So I will say I did see the wire on the rope during the sequence. I don't give a fuck. It's so cool,
It
and I love
is.
it.
But we cut to Fakir back at it again with the basket and praying over the little boy. Isn't anybody like, this isn't real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just saw this yesterday. But we hear the flute's music, and Fakir turns around to see Sebastian clearly through the hotel window, hanging from the ceiling of his hotel room. I don't know how nobody else sees this.
Yeah.
No.
He turns back, and we see that the flute music is being played by the woman who is alive and well.
Okay, so what I was thinking was at first I was like, oh my God, her dad isn't very broken. Because whenever we show the trick that they're doing now, I thought this was days later for some
Yeah.
reason. It's like, wow, he's not really broken up about his daughter, but oh my God, she's right there. And then I wonder, maybe his fucking flute playing was bullshit and she was the one doing it the whole time from outside.
Oh,
And she sent in like a decoy. I don't know. I can't, that's the only part I can't explain.
I think she's just magic and that she just faked it.
They were all really magic.
They were all magic.
Yeah.
And you came in trying to throw salt, and now fucking look at you. Why don't you hang out over there for a little bit?
Now your wife's peppered onto the ceiling.
But the rope dances back and forth, still holding up Sebastian as she continues to play. So what did you guys think of This Trick Will Kill You?
It was all right. This one was all right.
I liked it.
Unlike you, since the video wasn't of good quality, I did not see the string.
Okay.
So
John Paul's like, how's that rope doing that?
They hired a magic rope.
yeah, I just see the rope whooping dude. I was
No,
like,
it was whooping his ass.
It
He
was.
deserved it, though.
So I was like, oh, all right. But yeah, a fucking rope. I get the thing, but like you said too, if she knows how to do the trick, you just killed her.
Yeah.
Well,
How
I
do you-
guess that's like hubris. Like if she can do it, I can do it kind of a thing.
He thought he could just figure it out
That's
from
why he just fucking picks up the flute and starts
from what the ingredients. He's like, we got all we need here.
Yeah.
I can make it. You're no chef, sir.
No.
I enjoy this one. I enjoyed it more this time than ever before
Yeah.
because I feel like I may have tapped into some social commentary here.
Go on.
I don't think it is a mistake or an accident that an Englishman goes into India in an attempt to profit off of something they have no right to
And
and commodify it.
yeah. And that's what he was doing.
I mean, I don't know if you're a student of history, but but I was like, oh shit. And the thing is that I think that if I'm not mistaken, the story, like the original story, was written in the States. Mm-hmm. So through making this film, the commentary is baked in because of British anthology.
Right.
But I was like, I wonder if they did that on purpose.
I'll say yes.
All right. But the story in the comic is way more gruesome.
Really? Tell me.
And also a little more racist because they do talk shit
Oh.
about India while they're there.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And they do it from like the first frame, and so you're like, well, I can't wait till they're dead.
It's setting the scene.
Yeah.
That's another thing very quickly before you get into it. I don't know if you ever watched that show, 1,000 Ways to Die on Spike.
Right.
All the weird ways that they talked about people dying. The person was always a piece of shit so that you wouldn't feel bad that they were dead.
No sympathy.
No. And I feel like we're tapping into that here because it's like, bye, fucking Sebastian. I don't give a fuck
about you, dude. And the funny thing is, I think the comic was way more like on the nose because there's something I forgot to mention in the first story with the vampires. The first man, the guy that materializes and talks to him.
Yes.
The first conversation, no. The first conversation he has is he's like, well, you better get out before sundown. And he's like, why? He's like, the vampires.
No.
In the comic. So there's no unfolding there. But
no.
Kind of the same thing here where you're just like, oh, so they're pieces of shit. So they're going to die, clearly.
Yeah.
But whenever Inez climbs up the rope, she does disappear, but then all her body parts and blood rain down on him.
Shit.
Oh.
And he's just like, ooh, and that's kind of what distracts him to get strangled because his wife's body is around him.
Well, yeah.
But, I mean, that's kind of hard to do in the 70s in England.
Not only is it hard to do, but there's something really scary about where the fuck did she go?
Yeah.
I think that's way scarier.
Like,
She's in some dimension. She's with fucking Pinhead.
Yeah, explode my body. I don't...
You know? The Cenobites are like, you use the rope, we came. But I mean, I think the other thing that is very interesting to me is that I like this ending where not only is the girl still alive, but she's just rocking out doing magic with her pops.
Yeah.
Rocking out, it's a flute. But in the original comic, they say the vault keeper comes in and he's like, well, you know, they don't know where she went. Back to you, Crypt Keeper. So she just disappeared. And she has no relation to that man. You see him, but they don't do tricks together or anything.
Huh.
So I like this version way better.
They improved on it, yeah.
Why is the gatekeeper a weather guy?
I don't know.
Back to you in the studio.
It's like we're broadcasting live from the vault.
And it's humid down
It's
here.
very...
No, I love this one. Yeah, I did appreciate it more than ever, I think.
Yeah.
Because, I can't even say because. I don't know why. I just really liked it. I like I've said it 1,000 times, you love to see revenge.
Right.
And this man really tried to take advantage of this woman, and her rope were like, oh, hell no. And he fucking paid for it.
And you see...
Him and his wife, because his wife was just down. Were they like, and if they don't want to give it to us when we go to India to find a trick, let's just kill him. Like, they were so quick to jump to, let's just kill her and take the trick.
In the comic, literally, they are prowling looking for tricks to steal.
Yeah.
And then once they find the rope trick, they go back to the hotel room and they're like, okay, we got to steal this shit. But then they're like, look, and the wife is the one that says it. She's like, look, if she doesn't want to give it to us, we'll just kill her. And he's like, kill her? She's like, yeah. Like, what else can we do?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was their plan all along.
That's some shit. It comes through because they were not scared.
No.
I was expecting his wife to be like, she's like, okay, no, fucking get the rope. I'm like, what?
She's like, then I'll climb it.
That's what I thought too. I was like, the wife didn't even
No, she was
stop,
down. She was down.
Not at all. I do.
And she wasn't even nervous before they came. She's making a drink. She's all fucking happy. Mama's cotton lips.
At least prepare. Get into character. But I like that 2 of the stories so far, it's about greed.
Yeah, it is.
And they get their comeuppance, and I think that says a lot.
Yeah.
Some people should pay attention to that.
Yep. But back in the sub-basement, Sebastian just stares wide-eyed and horrified, and Critchett tells him he looks like he's seen a ghost. Sebastian tells him there's no such thing as ghost except in magician's illusions. It's like, all right, you're working through something.
So is he not actually a magician? It's just a dream?
Well, Rogers was like, I don't have a sister. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? But Maitland finally speaks up that he's been having a similar vision. It's similar, but not quite. So
it's not similar at all.
Not even a little bit. So here we start bargain in death. We open up in a graveyard and we zoom in on a grave as Maitland tells us that it begins in a freshly dug grave. I was like, ooh, we get narration in this one?
Love it.
His grave, though, inside we see him light a match and we see that I guess he's been buried alive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
No.
He asks how it happened and says that he remembers now. So we cut to a room.
I know exactly what happened. Okay, so he had a mission to kill Bill. Now,
I was literally talking about Kill Bill last night. That's so funny. But We cut to a room and Maitland shows his friend Alex, played by Edward Judd, pills that he can take that will slow his pulse and his heart rate to the point where even the best doctor will think he's dead. He also has pills that he's been taking to make it look like he's had a heart attack. He says it will be no trouble getting a death certificate, but it's up to Alex to make sure he's not buried for more than 24 hours after everyone thinks he's dead. He says all he has to do is dig him up and they can hide out in Alex's house while Alex collects the insurance money and then they're free and clear. So this seems solid, right, guys?
Oh, yeah.
I don't see how this could go wrong at all.
I don't think I've ever trusted anyone enough to do this for me.
But Maitland ponders over his typewriter, saying that this would have made a great story, but he'd be lucky to get 50 pounds for it because there's no money in horror. And I was like, that was cheeky.
Yeah.
Cheeky.
Yeah.
I literally wrote cheeky.
It was. It's exactly what it was. But Alex leaves and Maitland goes back up to his room. He picks up his gun and muses that... muses that once Alex has collected the insurance money, he won't need him anymore.
That killed me.
You said that out loud.
Yeah.
That man's seat is still
Dude,
warm.
Alex is like, I'm in the hall. I was lighting a cigarette. I was waiting. So you're going to kill me? Wow.
But we cut to Maitland lighting the match again in his grave and hearing him musing that it's the perfect plan. In the dark room back at Maitland's house, he injects himself with the medicine and slides the matches into his pocket. So I'm like, was he buried in that outfit?
Like, and it goes down tonight.
He then sits and starts reading a Tales from the Crypt book, and we zoom way in to see that that's what he's reading. That made me laugh.
The thing that made me laugh is that at the bottom, first of all, it's the poster for their film. It came out the year prior, and at the bottom it says, now a terrifying film.
They're like, go see it. Back at the grave, we see Maitland again and hear him reiterate the perfect plan, except for one thing. So we cut to a room and see two medical students, Tom, played by Robin Nedwell, and Jerry, played by Jeffrey Davies. Yes, they're named Tom and Jerry. And they're studying and lamenting that they don't get enough time practicing in the dissection room. Tom says if only they had a body of their own that they could work on whenever they wanted to. I'm sure this is unrelated. Let's move on.
Yeah, it's just a non sequitur.
Back at Maitland's home, the landlady knocks on his door and just lets herself in when he doesn't answer. She finds him seemingly dead in his chair and screams. Tom and Jerry come running, and I guess that this is like a boarding house where everybody's renting out a room.
The circumstance, like the luck that they live in the same building. Yeah. I just want to point that out.
But they inspect Maitland to find him dead, and Jerry looks at Tom like, huh? And
Dude.
Tom smiles.
He's like, let's fuck him up, fam.
Yeah.
Back at the graveyard, Tom and Jerry search through until they get the shit scared out of them by the gravedigger, played by Arthur Mullard. He promptly asks them if they have the money, and they say they'll pay once they get the body. And it's like, oh shit, y'all are like doing this for real. When he asks what they want the body for, Tom tells him that they're ghouls, but the gravedigger's like, well, he just gets back to her.
I thought that was funny.
It's like, no questions.
Yeah.
We're
Like, all
ghouls.
right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
I'm getting paid, right? Okay. Inside the grave, Maitland's match goes out as it's like, he's like, the air's giving out. Stop lighting your fucking matches,
Yeah.
dude.
It's like, let me burn through these real quick.
Nothing's changed.
Dude, there, you can't see. There's nothing important here. There's nothing written on the inside how to get out. You're fucked.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed. But he begs Alex to hurry and the light goes out, leaving him in darkness. But we quickly cut to Alex's house and we see him laughing to himself. Laughing to himself while he's packing his bags. Back at the gravedigger, Tom gets dirt thrown on him as the gravedigger is, grave digging. And Jerry and the gravedigger both laugh because he's like, can you throw it over there after he gets hit? And then he moves and then he hits him again. It's funny.
You got to find humor.
Yes.
Anywhere
Never
you
work
can.
a day in your life.
No.
Inside the coffin, Maitland is struggling for air as he lights another fucking match. You're only hurting yourself. But he coughs, but outside the grave, nobody hears the cough but Tom, who just gets dismissed.
Yeah.
They're like, no, you fucking idiot. We didn't hear anything. It's like, okay.
Wasn't he the closest, though? I mean, I would take his word for it.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you heard what?
Yeah. Oh, let's get out of here.
Fuck out of here.
I just couldn't even get the word out because I scared myself of being in that situation.
So we cut to Alex again, who's driving in his car, and there's a sign that says graveyard, and he just keeps going.
Are those signs common in England? Graveyard this way or whatever
Sure.
it says?
Yeah.
But he muses to himself that Maitland should be waking up about now, and he wonders how long it will take before he realizes he's not coming back.
Everyone's an asshole.
And everyone verbalizes their assholeness. But back in the graveyard, the gravedigger finally gets down to the coffin, and the anticipation builds as he opens it. But like, wouldn't Maitland have heard them digging him up this whole time?
Wouldn't he be screaming?
Yeah.
I mean,
Or
I don't know.
I mean,
He's out of air. He's lit too many matches.
Yeah.
He's like, Alex. In his mind, he thinks it's Alex.
Yeah.
So he should be like, whoo, almost there, buddy.
Yeah. But the gravedigger opens the coffin, and Maitland sits bolt upright, screaming Alex's name. Tom and Jerry's hair is blown back. And they literally flee from the graveyard as cartoonish music plays.
Yeah.
It's like
And
Scooby-Doo.
Jerry runs into a little hole in the wall.
But they run out into the street as Alex is driving by. He swerves out of the way, and they jump out of the road anyway, but he swerves and then hits a tree, and then his fucking car immediately bursts into flames.
Yeah.
His car was made of matches, and so it's just the whole thing. But I like that again. Comeuppance.
Yeah. Dude, he fucking okey-doked him.
He did.
Like, Tom and Jerry seem unaffected by this. Like, this dude is literally burning, and they're like, well...
Yeah, as nobody's gonna talk about this dude just blew up.
Yeah. They're like, it's been a crazy night.
You know, maybe we shouldn't be doing this.
They left medical school after that. It's changed their whole lives.
Tragic
really.
tale.
Yeah.
But the gravedigger comes out and tells them to come back. They approach the grave, and the gravedigger tells them they can give him his money now. He apologizes for the head, and we pan down to see the end of his tool is bloody and dripping, and Maitland's head has been caved in, and he is actually dead now.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you need to pay me extra, because I was just supposed to dig up a corpse, not make a corpse. Not dig and make the corpse.
I'm an accessory.
Yeah.
No, I am the murderer.
I killed this man.
Right. Although, in all fairness, the way he lurched up, I think you could have a self-defense case. I mean, maybe instead of
Is there a defense for I was scared?
Yeah.
I think there is.
I was startled.
But yeah, clubbed to death.
Yep.
Rob D.
So, what did you guys think of Bargain in Death?
This one was just okay for me. It wasn't the strongest one for me. It wasn't bad though. It was funny at times.
It was like really funny.
Yeah. But like, yeah, dude hit the tree and blew up, and they're just like, oh. He's like, hey boys, and then they're all right, and they go back. Like, what the fuck?
I have no idea.
Like, that dude's probably dead.
Yeah.
They did not give a shit. Wouldn't you be like, oh, we can get this body?
Or well, wouldn't you be like, hey, we're in medical school, let's help him?
Oh, yeah.
How about that shit?
Let's take his body.
Yeah.
Let's cut his corpse up. Nay. Good Lord.
Finish the job.
Yeah.
I'm thinking through their
They're
motivation.
like, well, a bird in the hand. I don't know. But I mean, my thing is like, I agree with you completely. It feels like they just did not give this one time to breathe.
No, yeah.
No pun intended, but we did feel like dude in the coffin. There's no air.
No.
I think that oddly from what I read on this one, it seems like the most faithful to the comic.
Really?
There's only one change that they made is that whenever he's giving his little monologue of, and then when Alex comes, I'm going to fuck him up or whatever. He is going to push him into the force him into the coffin with the gun and then close it. Like he's
that's smarter.
switching the burial.
That's smarter.
So it's like pretty fucked up, but
he's like, now I'm prune Alex.
I don't know. I feel like this one is very, we said the other ones were to the point, but there is nothing
even
but
more so.
point.
Yeah.
This is all point. Even down to instead of like showing us things, just telling us.
I'm not digging him up. It's like, okay, Alex, we saw you drive past the graveyard.
He looks at the camera. He's like, I'm also a bad guy.
So you won't feel bad when I'm exploded later.
Give me 5 seconds.
Yeah, if I had to pick a least favorite, it would be this one.
Yeah.
It was still charming though.
Yes.
Like it was still fun.
Oh yeah. It was very like back to back
and you gotta love, if only we had a body.
Yeah.
Oh, we have
wow.
a body. But back in the sub-basement, Critchett says the nightmare is preposterous, and Maitland doesn't deny that, but he says it felt so real. Moore asks why that particular nightmare. And Critchett is like, you're not interested in his nightmare. You're interested in your own nightmare. And Moore's like, bet.
Yeah.
Finally, he begins. And his nightmare starts on the island of Haiti. We're now starting drawn and quartered. So in Haiti, Moore is in a hut painting when Bob, played by Maurice Kaufman, just walks in. But they seem happy to see each other. Bob is here on business and he heard Moore was here too, so he decided to stop in and see him. We see that Moore is working on a self-portrait, but says it's just like all the rest of his work, worthless. And I'm like, damn, dude, are you me?
Yeah, I know. You have no confidence. I can relate. I do want to say it's very fitting he's an artist because he does look like Vincent van Gogh.
He does. He does. But Bob drops the science that he just saw one of Moore's pieces sell for 5,000 pounds. Moore knew nothing about this, and Bob informs him that it was sold in a gallery owned by a man named Gaskill on behalf of a man named Dilton. And it's sold at such a high price because his work has been praised by an art critic named Fenton Breedley. Moore pours himself a drink in complete disbelief. That night, Moore visits a houngan played by Tony Hazel and tells him that he wants to buy voodoo to get revenge on those who have wronged him. And I'm like, say words, son. He's straight up.
Yeah.
Dude, it went from I got some bad news about certain people, and he's like, all right, I am going to curse them
Yeah.
immediately.
They're dead.
Well, he had a lot of information.
He did.
So-and-so from so-and-so.
Yeah.
So it's like, damn.
Basically, it's these three men
Yeah.
that have wronged you.
I did want to point something out because I know we had some discussions about terminology.
Uh-huh.
I did see that this could also be referred to as a bokor,
Okay.
and it made me think of that episode of Night Visions called The Bokor. And I was wondering if anyone else remembered Night Visions.
What would make you think of that?
Well, it just put me in the same mood. I don't know.
Dude, Night Visions was so good, though.
Right? Henry Rollins all pissed off.
All mad. It's like, do you want me to watch or not?
Do you even want to be here, dude?
He's always mad.
Yeah, it's true.
But the houngan instructs him to sit down and asks what he does for a living. When Moore says that he's an artist, he instructs him to put his hand that he paints with into the pot between them. We pan over, though, to see that the pot is suspended over fire and the liquid inside is boiling.
Yeah.
I laughed my ass off because he goes, no.
Yeah.
Well, what do you say?
It's the best answer.
He does, but then he tells him that if he wants the voodoo, he has to do it. Moore slowly puts his hand in the pot, but when he pulls it back out, his hand is wet but unharmed. Moore marvels at his hand and asks if now he gets the doll to stick pins in. But he says it in like a condescending way. So like, do you believe in this or you don't believe in this?
He believes in it enough to be here.
Yeah.
And to stick his hand in fucking boiling water.
Or maybe he's just
like, do I get my doll now?
maybe he's just
Like,
ignorant as
fuck
shit,
off.
and he's like, so we all leave with the doll, right?
That's kind of how I took it.
Yeah.
Was he didn't know what the fuck was going on.
He's
Yeah.
like, one doll, please.
He's like, I don't know anything about boiling water. I don't. And I'm sorry, I just have to point it out. I know it's 1973 in England. Something is telling me that their Haitian voodoo rituals are not accurate in this film.
I'm going to vote probably
Okay,
not.
so
But the houngan tells him that he's an artist. He doesn't need a doll. Then he's like, nah, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
He's done with him. Moore leaves him the money and then does what he's told. After he's gone, the houngan just shakes his head.
Yeah, he's disappointed in him.
Yeah.
He's like,
Well-
no.
he's like a doll. Get the
Yeah.
fuck out of here. Jesus.
Come into my house.
Now, I will say, for some reason, I took it that was a tip. And so I was like, you know what? Moore is my favorite one so far. He tipped his voodoo practitioner, which is always good practice.
Yeah, but he didn't pay. If that was a tip, he didn't pay.
Well, then I don't know. Look, I'm telling you how it made sense in my head. I didn't
Okay.
say it made sense. That
Right.
was where you made your mistake.
Yeah, that's my fault.
Yeah. I'm ashamed.
But in the morning, Moore works on his painting before sitting down to do a sketch. He uses charcoal to sketch out a vase holding his paintbrushes, and he fucking does it quick, and it looks good.
Yeah, it's better than I can do.
Absolutely. I mean, not you, me.
Yeah, you're like, you cannot draw. Although I will say, when I was in high school art class, I did a really good apple. I drew an
I
apple.
apologize.
But, no big deal. I'm not talented at all. But
I drew an apple, he says.
I did. I was really proud. He hung it up, my art teacher. But long story short, I do love that he took a break from his art to do more art.
Right. But he looks at it as he quickly works, then takes the drawing from the pad. He walks over to the trash can and rips up the drawing, which is like, dude, it was fine. What do you want from it? But as soon as it hits the trash can, he hears a crash and turns to see the real vase shattered on the floor.
It's Corman's calamity up in here.
Right. That's the second time we brought this up.
Yeah, I know. It's a great one.
It's so good. But he quickly slices a piece of bread and then throws it on the floor. He sketches it and then grabs his eraser and erases the bottom right corner of the bread. Just as he finishes, a rat lets itself into his hut and just starts nibbling at the bottom corner of the bread before walking away. Then we look at the picture again so that we, the audience, are like, oh, it's the same.
Shit. Now, I do want to say, I don't like housing where a rat can just let itself in. He's like, is that bread I smell? And just walked in.
Well, he took a small piece and was like, all right, I'm gone. Thank you.
Yeah,
it's like, I'm not greedy.
Yeah.
Because then I'll get got.
Yes. He's like, have you seen the Vault of Horror?
Yeah.
Don't be a greedy fuck.
So a quick question. Some of these drawings he does really fast. Is this really him doing it? Or
I'm going to bet no, but I don't know.
Is there...
I feel like no. Well, you have a thing about dry paintbrushes on.
I do.
Was it wet?
We didn't see him paint. It's either zoomed in on his hands while he's sketching or like the back of the easel while he's painting.
Well, then my vote is that he did not do it.
I'm pretty sure that brush is dry. But he goes over to his self-portrait and draws a line of red on his face of the painting. He inspects himself and nothing happens. He picks up the broken pieces of the vase and lays down to sleep. That night, we pan over and see it get dark outside before panning back over to more. So he just fucking slept all day. But I thought the transition was really cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Island drum beats are playing as he tosses and turns. We see the Houndgan sitting in front of the fire and staring right at us. Moore continues to toss and turn before screaming and falling out of bed and right into the trash can.
So that was a dream within a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
But when he gets up and looks in the mirror, he's cut in the exact spot that he marked on his portrait.
Why did he have to choose violence for his test? Like, why didn't he put
draw himself holding some money?
Yeah, draw some money in his shirt pocket or something? Why did we both go to money? It sucks to be poor, guys.
I thought he was making himself look younger or something. Because he was
that would be interesting.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
I
thought that was Rouge?
Nah, well, you know what I mean? I thought he was like, you know what? Let me touch myself up, see what happens.
Look at this apple-cheeked lad. He can't be more than 12. But later, we see Bob giving Moore money. Moore says that it's enough to get him to London, and he'll be able to pay Bob back this money plus a lot more. That night, we see Moore packing his self-portrait, which is now finished in a perfect likeness of him.
It looks great.
It looks fantastic.
So whoever painted it,
yes.
Great job.
Hats off. Moore arrives back in London and is able to rent his old studio back. And the landlord is the shit.
Oh, yeah. Keep that in mind because there's something they changed from the comic.
But the landlord sets him up and tells him that he even got the safe that he asked for, as well as some milk and bread in case he wanted some tea. I'm like, hell yeah.
He was so kind. I was like, are you his agent? Like, what is this?
Happening? But he leaves. Moore opens up the safe and places his self-portrait inside before locking it back. We cut to an office where Moore sits with Dilton, played by Denholm Elliott, Breedley, played by Terrence Alexander, and Gaskill, played by John Whitty. They're fucking unapologetic. Dilton tells him that if he ever had faith in his own work, he never would have listened to Breedley say that his paintings were bad and then sell them to him at such a low price.
So the lesson here is be confident in what you do.
Even if the critics tell you you're shit?
Exactly. You're doing amazing, sweetie.
But Gaskill tells him that it's just the way of the world, and there's no remorse or ruse, that these three dudes just swindled the fuck out of him.
No, they're proud of it.
Yeah. Moore tells him that he's going to have his revenge, and they all literally fucking laugh at him.
You're laughing. He vowed his revenge, and you're laughing.
But he storms out. Back at his studio, he has 3 easels set up. On each of them, he, like you said, very quickly.
Dude, he banged those out.
Yeah. I I was like, damn, that was fast. Because you see him start sketching the first one.
Right.
turn around, then the camera comes back. He's fucking done. I was like, holy shit.
Full background.
Yeah.
Like everything.
Like the color all fading.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he killed it. But he draws one for each of the men who wronged him. He sets them all up and stands in front of the painting of Fenton Breedley, the art critic. But he says that Breedley lied about his paintings to the public, and now he will never see another painting again. He takes a knife and pokes holes through Breedley's eyes in the painting. Now we cut to Breedley's home, and he's in the middle of an argument. Apparently, he's been cheating on his wife, played by Sylvia Marriott, and it is basically like, it's no big deal. We're living in the 20th century now. Now, I will say a little personal anecdote. I'm the type of person that will dream that somebody does something bad and be mad at them the next day. Listen.
I'm looking at you.
I know. Feel bad for John Paul because it's always him. But
poor JP, man.
In my dream, he'll be cheating on me or at a party acting a fool or something. And this is always what he does after he's confronted with it. Okay, and like it's worse than the cheating, to be honest.
I just imagine him, you guys waking up and he's like, good morning. And you're like, well, for you it might
be. No, yes.
Like, that's insane. What are you doing?
I'm not like mean to him. I'm just like, I'm having some feelings that I need to work past because you were very rude in my dream last night. And he's like,
I
great.
can't.
Yeah.
I can't do anything about
I didn't
that.
do that.
He's always like, it wasn't me. And I'm like, well, it was someone that looked a lot like you.
Just give me some time.
Give me like a half an hour and I'll get over it. But that made me like poke his fucking eyes out because he's like, yeah, and like, so what?
He did not care at all.
No, literally no. But his wife reaches behind her and picks up a bottle from the desk. She tells him that he will never see another woman again before throwing the contents into his face. And I guess it was a bottle of acid.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, it was green as Listerine. I was like, real acid? I couldn't believe it. It's first of all, this is exactly what happens in the comic, so there's no change. But I was like, this is very comic-y, right?
No, yeah. Well, it just made me think of the American Dad episode where the lady throws the acid in Francine and she, acid in your face, you fine ass bitch.
I do remember
I knew
that.
one of y'all was going to say that.
Well, it was very...
We both went to the cartoon.
Yeah.
It just seemed very like, well, you know what? In the 70s, we used to keep vats of acid next to our beds. It was just a thing that we did.
We?
I mean, it was a thing that they did. They. Part of the culture.
But Breedley's face is already red and burned, and he screams with his eyes closed. As he screams, we're back in the studio, and we come back to the portrait with his eyes poked out. Moore walks over to the portrait of Arthur Gaskill, the art dealer. He says he lied and told him his paintings were worthless and that he couldn't do anything with them. So now he will never handle anything again. I mean, it's justice of the unicorn, I think.
No joke. Again, I love the irony of his punishments.
I like how clever he was about it.
Yeah.
Because
he's creative.
I think these are the only two that he's clever with. The last one, he's like, fuck it.
Yeah.
But he takes out a knife and cuts the painting and then rips out Gaskill's hands from the painting. I like how nobody else had hands, but he did.
Yeah.
Well, he knew what he was going to do.
Yeah.
At Gaskill's office, a man is using a paper cutter and Gaskill chastises him for using it incorrectly. You remember those? Those used to scare the shit out of me in elementary school.
Well,
I'm like, why is this in our classroom? Somebody's going to lose a finger. That's scary.
They're just
like,
a giant blade.
They're like all psycho sound.
For me, this seemed like one of the most like archaic versions of that.
Yeah.
It was like some medieval shit.
Yeah,
like
well,
that's a
because
torture device.
He had to like turn a thing to raise it up.
It wasn't
was a
simply
lot.
lifting it.
No.
Why did they have those in our classes? Those should have just been in the teacher's lounge.
I don't think we should have been doing that. The 90s were rough, guys.
Yeah.
But as he sets up the papers, he continues to talk shit, telling the man he doesn't even know why they employ him. He tells him to watch as he brings the blade down and cuts the paper in half. The man is just taking this abuse, and Gaskill tells him to use his intelligence. He tells him that he will show him once more, which is T's favorite line in the whole thing.
Because continue.
You always say that. I'll show you once more.
It's become one of my favorite things to say. But we'll talk about it in a second.
Before raising the blade again, he is sliding the paper under the blade, like fully his hands under the blade. And he turns to talk more shit, but then the blade comes down and completely cuts both of his hands off. And he screams. Here's why I love it so much. Because he's being a dick.
Yes, that's the whole point. He literally showed him how to do it, but then that wasn't enough. And he's like, I'll show you once more.
He had to rub it in.
And then after
Stop talking to adults like they're kids or you're going to get got.
When he gets his hands under it, he turns to him and says, see? And that's when he gets fucked up. And that to me is so good because if he would have just been satisfied with the one time, he'd still have his fucking hands.
And you know that guy was like, fuck yeah. Like, did I do that with my mind?
That would suck so bad.
Oh my God. Why is the knife that sharp?
We're just cutting
went through
paper.
it like butter. But as he screams, we see the cut on his hands in the portrait. Finally, Moore goes over to Dilton's portrait. Then he smiles and he's like, you can wait until tomorrow.
So that's enough revenge
he's like,
for
I'm
one
tired.
I just killed 2 people. So.
And completed 3 like masterful paintings as well.
Honestly.
That's got to take it out of you.
He had to switch gears. Like, those are unrelated.
But we pan over to the safe with Moore's portrait safely stowed inside. We cut to Dilton sitting in his office when he's told over the intercom that Moore is here to see him. He tells his secretary to let Moore in and that she can go home for the day. Moore asks if he's read about the other 2 because now it's his turn. And I'm like, straight out the gate talking shit. I love it.
Love it.
But he sets his watch on the desk and tells Dilton that he has 2 minutes to live. He sets up his easel, but Dilton immediately pulls a gun on him. I would have been ready too.
Yeah.
If he's like, I'm going to get revenge and then my other 2 buddies are fucking dead.
I just love that he's reading about it in the
paper.
paper.
No, they're not dead. They're just maimed, right?
Well, yeah, that's true.
I didn't even think about that.
So he's not a murderer.
Right. It's just a maimer.
I don't know. I was about to commit to something that I do not want to commit to on tape.
But he places the portrait of Dilton on the easel and takes out a red pin. Dilton watches as Moore draws a red circle right in the middle of Dilton's forehead on the painting. Drum beats swell as Dilton shakily points his gun. He grabs the hand with the gun with his other hand and tries to steer it away, but he's unable to. He finally points the gun toward his own face, and with it pressed up against his forehead, he pulls the trigger. We see him with the same red mark as the portrait as he falls to the ground dead. Now, did anybody else think he was going to shoot the painting and then he was going to be shot?
I did for a second. And then
I'm like, oh no, you're just making him fucking shoot himself. Okay.
Well, I the only reason I didn't is because he's leaving a lot of the heavy lifting to the curse.
Yes.
He's like, look, we'll poke his eyes out. However you want to go about doing that, that's fine.
I'm telling you the end result.
Yeah. Well, I'm taking these hands, do whatever you feel.
Well, he stayed pointing for a little bit. Yes. So that's why I was like, so is he going to shoot the painting and then it's going to just appear? Or
I just thought, I wish we would have gotten you thought that you could trick me. Now you'll never think again.
Yeah.
Because this one was just like, oh no, you're just dead now.
Like, you thought you were so cunning or something.
Something. It
now your brain is mush or whatever. I didn't.
Now your brain is running. He's the Riddler. So Moore sets up the painting next to Dilton's body, which is really just insult to injury. But then he just suddenly starts gasping for air.
Well, setting the painting up, I guess, because he's like, you didn't think I was good enough, killed you, bitch.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I feel like anything he leaves here is evidence, though.
Absolutely.
Because they're like, who painted?
Yeah.
So he's shot in the head. Maybe let's find the guy who drew him and then drew a dot on his head.
Yeah. Open and shut case, Johnson.
Right. It doesn't take Sherlock Holmes, okay? So
he's also in England.
He is. That's why I said him. But we flash to the safe in his studio, and it's like, oh shit, his painting's locked up. But it's been locked up for days.
Yeah.
His painting is lighting matches in there. And he ran out of there.
I do love this little wrinkle, though.
Oh, yeah. Because it's like you can't even like lock it up to keep it safe.
Yeah.
No. Man, hell of a time to do a self-portrait.
Right.
He picked a bad.
Well, he had already started it. If you just would have abandoned it, then
why didn't you rip it up like the fucking vase drawing? He really liked it, I guess.
Yeah. See, that's what I thought too. I was like, I would have never painted myself again.
Well, he didn't know yet. Yeah. He didn't know Well,
he had worked on it.
Yeah,
he was working on it a
already
little.
worked on
Yeah.
it.
He had to finish it, or else he'd lose all his color, and he'd.
But that was before.
He made mistakes. All right.
We all make them.
So back at the office, Moore flees, leaving his watch on Dilton's desk, and they make sure we see it.
Mm-hmm.
Back at his studio, still gasping for air, Moore manages to open his safe. Once the door is open, he's able to finally breathe deeply. He pulls a self-portrait out of the safe and puts it on the empty easel. He lights a cigarette, which I would not be smoking near that thing, and goes to check his watch, but realizes that it's been left at Dilton's office. He rushes out, but we pan up over his self-portrait to see through the windowed ceiling that there's a man painting a sign on the building above him. I'm sure it's unrelated.
Of course. At least, unlike Rogers in the first segment, he cares about leaving evidence behind.
Yeah.
Dude was like, I'll stab my sister.
Yeah.
And leave the knife sticking out
Yeah.
and not wipe the fingerprints off.
Not at all. He just wiped the blood off.
But outside, Moore runs through the streets trying to get a taxi. Intercut are shots of the painter going about his business next to a precariously positioned can of, I guess, paint thinner.
Yeah.
He finally kicks it over and it crashes through the glass of the studio, directly knocking over the self-portrait. Just as this happens, Moore is hit and run over by a large truck. We get a shot of the painting inside the studio, his face completely melted and ruined except for one eye. Now, I will say when I was a kid, that painting scared the shit out of me.
Well, no, it looks really cool.
It looks so good and creepy.
But that doesn't look like the painting from earlier. That looks like now he would look. The side you could tell was sad. He's like, oh.
Well,
He's
I'd
dead.
be sad too.
Well, I know, but the other one is just looked like a picture of
Yeah.
him. Now this one, he's kind of sad.
He's all melted.
Yeah.
No, that scared me too. And I don't know why, because literally there's a lot of very specific things that have to happen for that to happen
I'm like,
to you.
oh, I'm fucked. I'll never draw again.
Yeah. It's like, well, you got to go to a Houngan.
That's why I'm not an artist.
Yeah, get screwed over by a critic
And
and an art dealer. It's a lot of moving parts. Let's just say that.
but what did y'all think of Drawn and Quartered?
This one is clearly where they put.
For sure.
And like the other one, you could tell it was a little.
Yeah.
But this one, you can tell they spent the most time on. But I do like this one. That painting at the end. And the thing I do like is the creativity of it. Like the story, or like it's like, damn, it's like, what the hell?
They really put more time into this one.
Yeah.
It's like they went to Bargain and Death and they're like, look, we're cutting half your time and budget. We're going to give it to Drawn and Quartered.
Well,
and even the title is the best.
it's so good.
Yeah.
It's punny. But the movie's barely an hour and a half. It's not quite an hour and a half. And this is like half an hour of it.
Yeah.
So
Oh, shit, you're right. It is.
you have the 4 other stories sharing that hour. And then it's like, now it's time for the finale.
Yeah.
They left the heavy hitter for last.
Mhm, which you should.
Exactly. And it's just the best.
It is.
It's
Yeah.
the best one, story-wise. And even as far as if we're talking about Tom Baker, I think he was the most captivating of the leading men in this.
Besides
Terry
Thomas.
Thomas, because he was fantastic. But I mean, you saved literally the best of everything for last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. And I think that's admirable in an anthology to do.
Yeah. And also everything was like the main character getting their comeuppance.
Yeah.
This was the main character giving comeuppance. So it
Yeah.
kind of, that's different as well.
And also getting, because I mean, when you think about
At
it,
the end, yeah. But
all they really did was screw him over, and he's like, so I'm going to ruin their lives.
Yeah.
yeah. And
Granted-
for what? A little bit of money.
I watched Fargo,
Fargo.
last
Dude,
night.
I fucking love that movie.
But I did want to talk about the only difference in the comic, which was, I guess, one of his tests to see his newfound powers was he painted his landlord and then cut his legs off.
Wow.
And then, but the funniest thing is that I read that afterwards the landlord goes outside, he gets hit by a car, and there's a passerby that's like, he's going to need those amputated. So again, everything just really on the nose in the comic.
I'm so glad that they didn't do that because
Yeah.
what did the landlord do?
I don't know. I don't know if in the comic he was an asshole. This is the only one I couldn't find the full comic for.
Right.
But if it's the dude from the film, he was the
He
nicest
was
man.
I want
ever made.
that landlord. This is definitely my favorite one.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you guys covered it, but it's so good. And it really is like creative and thoughtful and unique in that way. And it's like, you could have done something good with it. Like, instead of getting revenge, you could have drawn yourself like in a mansion.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's like a monkey's paw situation. But still,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
true. I mean, you could have literally just put a nameplate in front of you and said art dealer's boss and, and then fired him. I mean, you didn't have to literally blind people.
Yeah.
No, he's maiming and murdering. But I mean, you know, they did him dirty.
The Vault of Horror.
Vault of Horror.
I would not have drawn myself at all after that.
No.
Well, but he had already drawn himself.
But he drew himself before, and then after he went to the Hound Gun, he was touching it up. That's where he fucked up.
No, that's what I'm saying. I would have stopped. Me?
Yeah,
No.
after he was
Yeah.
like, "You're an artist. You don't need a doll." I'd be like, "This hand."
Yeah.
Like, I'd be like, I got some fucking powers.
Look, I'm paranoid without going to a Hound Gun.
Right.
So I'd be afraid that anything I've ever drawn is going to be powerful.
Right.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you could test that out.
He did.
No, he tested what he drew after.
Yeah.
Ah, shit, you're right.
So, I mean, I don't know. I would have been scared to fucking draw a stick figure after I went to that dude, but
I wouldn't put myself in a safe, I'll tell you that much.
no.
Oh, no.
No. But back in the sub basement, Critchet's like, well, we all have our cross to bear, which I don't really think applies here. But
Yeah.
He's like, but Moore's was the best.
yeah. Right, guys? Aren't you glad he waited? But Moore tells him it was just so real, as if it had actually happened or could happen. Sebastian asks if their fears could be a warning of what may happen, but Critchet isn't trying to hear it. Suddenly, the elevator begins to ding, and the men all stand up and make their way over to it because they're like, well, party's over.
Yeah. I was like, it tolls for thee.
Right? When the door finally opens, we're looking at a cemetery. They step outside and all go to explore, except for Sebastian, who just stands by the door.
Now, at this point, the Dies Irae starts playing, which I spoke of on episode 11, The Shining.
But he watches as the men just disappear one by one. He says, that's how it is and how it always shall be. Night after night, we have to retell the evil things we did when we were alive. Night after night for all eternity. He goes back inside the building, which is now a mausoleum, and he walks toward his grave and he disappears too. We pan out and the door closes with a slam.
Why does he get the fancy mausoleum?
I don't know. I was like, why does he get to stay? It should have been Critchet.
Yeah.
So, what did you guys think of the Vault of Horror?
Like I said at the beginning, I had never seen this and I'd never heard of it. I didn't know what it was. But I really did enjoy this movie.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it had like the old school B horror movie feel to it. And I'm a sucker for those. And I watched this and there was a lot, like every story I feel like wasn't necessarily bad.
Yeah.
And they were all creative. Like they were all shit that was like, what the hell? You know what I mean? Especially the last one.
Yeah.
And then that too, I didn't figure out the ending till about like maybe the third dream. And then I was like, okay, something's not right. Because
they're all like, it's so real.
Yeah.
And what about yours?
Yeah. But I did enjoy this movie a lot. And if you haven't seen it, I would recommend watching it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love it.
Yeah.
I feel like the stories are so fun, even though they deal with some dark shit in some of them.
They do.
Yeah.
But it's so great because, I mean, it has the camp of like an EC comic situation. You see, just from watching this, you see where Creepshow,
Oh, for sure.
you know?
Yeah.
So it's just so fantastic. I love the stories of revenge and comeuppance. It is such an interesting thing where an anthology has almost like a morality tale to it.
Yeah.
Each one, they did something wrong.
Right.
There isn't a situation where some innocent dude is just getting fucked up.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
You know? So, I mean, I love that extra layer to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't get over, of course, it was from the 70s, man. I just love that aesthetic so much.
You miss it, right?
Yeah, I don't know why I became a vampire in this episode. I was born in 1991, okay?
Sure you were.
I mean, I may not act like it, but
No, I love this movie. I was so excited that we were finally going to talk about it because I hope that people who haven't seen it will watch it like you did, because it doesn't have the stuff that movies have today to kind of rely on.
right.
So they really just had to go with characters and the
Right.
story, and even if there's, wires on rope, like, who gives a fuck?
No, I don't care.
It's just so good, and it's just fun. And yeah, I mean, I love it. I do want to ask y'all though to rank them.
Okay, so for me, we're doing best to worst.
Right.
Or none of them are worst.
Yeah.
Right. That's
the hard part.
I do want to say before we get into it, and I'm not asking you to rate the frame story, but I really enjoy the frame story.
No, yeah.
Which is not always easy.
Right.
With these anthologies, sometimes that frame story is like, whoo, just tell us the stories. Like
VHS.
yeah.
You were trying to be nice. I will gladly be. Am I the asshole? Yes.
But no, this is a lot of. It's just fun.
Right. But also you get just enough of the frame story and
Yes.
not too much.
Yes.
So you don't have to. But why or what you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't,
It's just to get you to the next
yeah.
one.
For me, the last one
Drawn and quartered.
that is number one.
Mm-hmm.
The tidy
The neat job.
job gonna be number 2. the rope,
Uh-huh.
Okay.
that's number 3. Then the vampire one,
Uh-huh.
and then of course the coffin one, or buried alive.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's exactly the same as mine.
I do.
Same thing. I knew something told me that it was going to be all three of us the exact same.
Well, I mean, you can tell
You
by
can.
watching them.
Yeah.
You can.
But still,
Yeah.
that's funny. But I was just curious. I didn't expect ding, 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 ding,
Fucking
ding.
hat trick.
Yeah.
No.
But I guess we can go into ratings.
Right.
This movie's just so much damn fun. I will literally rewatch it whenever. I'm kind of bummed that I waited this long, because there's some movies that you just don't think are gonna hold that same magic for you, but this one really does. I can't even really think of anything negative to say about it, except maybe we could have spent a little more time with them, because it is very this, the end.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's an anthology. It's not
Yeah.
a full film. It's not fucking
Right.
Breaking Bad. Like, I can't.
And in their defense, the comics they're based on are very quick.
Yeah.
Like, there's no room for fucking anything.
Right. It's not Preacher.
No.
So, I mean, it's great. It's
Yeah.
a great movie. So on a scale from 1 to 10 neatly labeled jars, I'm going to give The Vault of Horror 8 out of 10 neatly labeled jars.
Respectable.
It's not perfect,
Right.
but it's so much fun. I love it. Like I said, I'll watch it again whenever. But I'll now open the floor.
Like I said a couple of times already, I've never seen this, but I did enjoy this movie. And it for being old, sometimes they're outdated or they kind of, but this one, like you said, even though you see the wire, it still has the charm.
Yeah.
It's still, you forgive it because it's a good movie or anthology. My only complaint, and I will say this, I feel like it's too short. Like
That's
I want a little more time.
That's
That's
very
fair.
fair.
Because like you were saying, babe, the frame story, you don't need a lot. They're telling you,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, what happened to them.
So you mean you want the stories to be longer, or you want a couple more guys in there?
No, maybe the story's a little
Get to know them a
longer,
little
yeah.
better.
Because the time they spend in the frame story is like seconds.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
So if you just do that and then add a little more to their character or their stories, give me a little more. You know what I mean? Like we said about the guy being buried alive. We don't know what the fuck's happening.
Yeah.
going on?
Dude,
You
it comes in and he's like, okay, you're going to need to bury me alive. I'm like, what? Like, are you in trouble? Is the mob after you?
Yeah.
Why are
Like,
we
don't
doing
know
this?
that.
what's the story?
And then dude painting and guy just comes in his hut and he's like, hey, what's going on? You remember me?
I'm your agent.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Why are you in Haiti? Why
yeah,
is more in Haiti?
no shit.
Yeah, why is he there?
I guess he's like, my paintings are trash, and then
Yeah,
he just
no.
fled. I don't
Took
know.
a vacation to Haiti? I don't know.
And if he's painting them that fast and that good, you can't tell me you really thought your paintings were trash, dude.
Yeah.
Come
One-
on.
One critic?
Yeah. That's
Jeez.
nuts. But I did enjoy this movie a lot more than I thought that I was going to. Because I always try to just, like I said, if it's something I've never seen, I try to just come in, clean slate.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Let's just see what happens. And I did. I enjoyed it. So on a scale from 1 to 10, neatly labeled jars, I'm going to give The Vault of Horror 7.5 neatly labeled jars.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I did like the movie. You know, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have any nostalgia for me.
Right.
But it's still a good movie.
Yeah.
And the
It's still solid.
The stories, that's I think that what really got me was like they're all different and creative and just thinking of the shit. Like you said, it is very comic-y, but in a good way. It's like,
for
holy
sure.
shit, you pulled this off.
It's meant positively.
Yeah.
I can't say anymore. I've been talking a lot about this film, saying how much I enjoy it, all the good things about it. I will say I've watched this with you since we were children.
Yeah.
Thanks to Mom. And I plan to watch this for the rest of my life.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
Also, I do want to point out that, you know, Amicus Productions made this after they made the Tales from the Crypt movie. So I do want to put it out there that I do want to cover Tales from the Crypt on here.
Oh, I would love to.
Because I imagine it's the same basic thing, an anthology horror film that's British, made by the same company.
I'm down.
I bet it's just as fun as this is.
Yeah. I was telling your sister, I didn't know that. I'm from the Tales from the Crypt on HBO.
Right.
So when they came out with the movie, then I was like, and then you were saying before, I was like, what the fuck? Tales
Like
from the Crypt?
The 70s.
Yeah, I was like, damn, it's been on TV that long?
Yeah.
But then you said, no, it was the comics. So I was like, oh, all right.
Like,
that
oh,
makes
shit.
sense.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
But I do want to do that. Also, there are so many stories to tell there. Why did they just make the 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the real question.
I want another one of these in the 70s.
Revival.
Yeah.
Oh, it can't happen in the 70s.
No.
No.
Well, I guess we can't go
Well,
back
why
in time.
didn't you make it then?
I am not a vampire. I have the widow's peak in the teeth. I know, but
This
come
is
on.
much better than the Frozen stuff. That's you.
I wrote that line. I mean,
Damn it.
Here's the thing, though, is that I feel like what they were able to achieve at the time, I don't think can be replicated now.
Right.
Yeah.
The feel of it, it's impossible to recapture.
I'll still take it though.
I'll watch it. Don't get me
Get it
wrong.
twisted.
Despite everything I just said, no. But all of that to say, on a scale from 1 to 10 neatly labeled jars, I'm going to give The Vault of Horror 8.5 neatly labeled jars out of 10. I can't give it any less than that. The only negatives I do find is, and this is a great thing for a film, is to say the only negative I could find is I want more of it.
Yeah. No, yeah.
That's the best we can hope for.
Exactly.
Well, that's all from us at Podmortem. What would you rate The Vault of Horror, and what should we watch next? Let us know on Twitter at the Podmortem. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and like us on Facebook. Be sure to follow each of us on Twitter at Blood and Smoke, at RealStreeter84, and at TravisMWH. Please consider pledging to our Patreon and stay tuned until after the music for a special shout out to our Wendigo Getter patrons. And remember, be sure about the decisions you make. You might just have to live with them forever. Until next time. Thank you for staying tuned for a special thank you to our Wendigo Getter patrons.
Woo!
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just keep it simple.
Was that how y'all said it in the 70s?
Nay, I'm not a vampire.
A special thank you to Chris Ontiveros, Kristen Lofton, Megan Martinez, Kimberly Bass, Melanie Van Housden, Sophie Hodson, Anthony Jerome M., Jordan Nash, Kent and Allison O'Morton, Guy 54, Lala Thomas, Travis and Nisa Hunter, Miguel Myers ATX, Mandy, Jennifer Perez, Pierre Lombard, Jacob Tyler, Carissa, TJ Bronson, Gabrielle Trevino, Spooky Mom, Andy Teague, Applin Ontiveros, Karima Rhodes, and Antonio Huerta. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're all much better than the Frozen kind.
But thank you for listening to us review movies night after night for all eternity.
Oh my God.
We're dead, guys?
Yeah. That's the twist.
Right.
It's fun, right?
Yeah. Until next time.